So the NFC East, Philadelphia is going to be the favorite to win that.
I think they should be.
Commanders are second. So the Eagles are minus 170 to win the division. Commanders plus 175. Cowboys plus 600, and the New York Giants plus 2,500.
I think I agree with the Giants and the Eagles and the Commanders. I think the Cowboys should be a little bit closer on those odds.
I think shorter, like they should be like plus 400.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
And the main reason I say that is because the Cowboys got better as well, and I think they have a good situation going on. And I think the Eagles have a good situation going on. I think the Commanders have a good situation going on. It all comes down to what games you win.
Right.
But no team has won this division back-to-back years for 20-something years. 21 years now. That's just one of those weird ones where it's like, yeah, it's going to end eventually, but do you think it's going to be this year? I mean, it's hard. You look at the Eagles team since they've had Hurts, how have they not won it back-to-back?
Right.
Or you look at the Cowboys team since they had Dak.
Rosters they've had, yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck?
Commanders just kind of popped up out of nowhere. Giants have been shit for
I think,
10 years.
And that's why I don't know if we're getting into who you think will win the division or whatnot yet.
Yeah, I have I'm going to do your order.
Commanders. I think the Commanders are going to win the division. I think maybe I'm looking a little bit too much into the whole, what's the word I'm looking for here?
You don't know what you're trying to say.
About the nobody winning it back-to-back.
Oh, the trend? Or too much?
Yeah, like a trend. I'm looking into a trend a little bit too much, maybe, by saying the Eagles cannot win it. I'm not saying they can't win it, but I do think maybe I had the Eagles Commanders neck and neck, and I put the Commanders a little bit above because it's I think the trend will continue.
Kellen Moore's gone.
Kellen Moore's gone.
So it's just one of those things.
That's just another playbook Jalen Hurts has to learn, which, by the way, he's had to learn a new playbook every year since his freshman year of college.
Him and Baker Mayfield.
Because he had two different coordinators his years at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
He had Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma his 1 year. He had, who was his rookie year? Nick Sirianni, would it be?
No, it was the guy from the fucking Colts. Shane
Steichen. Was Nick Sirianni his head coach, or was it Doug Peterson?
I don't know.
Peterson got him a year.
So let's say Doug Peterson, right? And then it was Shane Steichen, and then it was Sirianni, and then it was Kellen Moore.
Ben Johnson.
Then it was Ben Johnson, then it was Kellen Moore, right?
Yeah.
He's learned 8 playbooks in a row.
Right.
Now he has another.
So for me, if we want to just get into the order, I have Eagles winning the division.
Sorry, the reason I mention that, because you always see the Eagles kind of it happens every year where everyone, at the end of the year, we're like, I like Jalen Hurts in the playoffs. I think he's a good player. And then the first 5 games, you're like, yeah, he's not one of the best. This dude has to learn completely new offense, completely new coverages. And last year, he just started being the guy who reads the protections because Jason Kelce left.
Yeah.
He's going to start out slow for a few games. And then once he gets the offense clicking and the protections clicking, he'll be good.
Yeah, there's a team when we get to the NFC North with the Lions. I think because they looked terrible in the Hall of Fame game. Usually in the second game, that team that loses bounces back, and I'm like, that might make sense, but they've lost both their coordinators. This is the first live action they've had. I wouldn't say that they're just going to turn it around because they had one bad week. That doesn't make much sense to me. And that if it was I'm trying to think of somebody who's had the Ravens or the Steelers, where it's hey, it's the same fucking coaches all the time. But a team like that, no.
The talent's still there for that team, but it's Ben Johnson was the most who's going to be the lucky guy that gets him. Losing that guy is big.
Have you heard what's going on in Chicago?
I heard he hates Caleb Williams and wants him dead.
He is stern. He's a strict coach from what I've heard, which is good. That's what they need. But anyway, me for the NFC East, I have the Eagles winning the division, so back-to-back winners. I have the Cowboys second, Skins third, and Giants fourth. I just think kind of how we did it last year where everyone was hyped on C.J. Stroud, and they're like, oh, my God, this is going to be one of, blah, blah, blah. And Jaden might not take a step back. I just think their offense, and they won a lot of one-score games. I know they had a bad defense, so that maybe gets better, maybe gets worse. But I think that second year is kind of like a learning curve where Dallas, I could be wrong, completely wrong, but I think getting George Pickens, I've heard that, this kid Jaden Blue is going to probably end up being the starter. If Schottenheimer's a decent coach, the Cowboys aren't someone to just sleep on. Now, one thing which we didn't mention you have to look for is if Michael Parsons either doesn't play or gets traded, or Terry McLaurin doesn't play or gets traded, depending on what happens there, that's going to play a big role in what happens with those two teams. But I just think the Skins take maybe a step back. Dallas and, Dak, when he's healthy, runs the NFC East because he has a very good record against the NFC East. Skins and Giants are even better records because they've been shit. But I've got them finishing second. Giants, which I also have under 5.5 wins for them on the season. If you look at their schedule, I don't know how they get 6 wins. They're just the bottom of the division right now. If I were them, I would probably have Jackson Dart start like the last 5 or 6 games, if even that. He'd probably play the whole preseason if I was the Giants, and then give him a year or two to develop. Because
I wouldn't mind if he played entirely a year or two behind Russell Wilson.
Right, but
so my thing is, people are like, well, you want to sit there and it's like, you're not going to win the Super Bowl in the next year or two. I'm sorry. No. I know that sucks to hear as a Giants fan.
Their defensive line, unbelievable.
But that doesn't win you a Super Bowl having an amazing defensive line and everything else sucks.
Right. Offensive line, they're working on it. Receivers are terrible.
Andrew Thomas is great. The rest of the line looks like it sucks.
The receivers are terrible besides Malik Neighbors. Their running back situation is fucked.
I mean, I was going to say you could work with, like, if you had a great team and then your running backs were Tyrone Tracy and Cam Scatabo, you could work with that.
Right.
But you don't have a great team.
They just have too much bad.
Yeah, they're easily in 4th place for me as well. Their over-under, I believe, is like 5.5 games.
That's my favorite bet is under 5.5.
NFC East has, like, the hardest schedule of any division this year. Strength of schedule. Yeah, the Giants are fucked. And it sucks because I actually do like the offseason they had.
Yeah, me too.
I personally think they got the best player in the draft in Abdul Carter. I don't know how he didn't go first, and I know quarterback's the most important position. And even if I felt like the Titans were a quarterback away, I'd still fucking take Abdul Carter, which might be crazy to say, but I think that guy's a generational talent. He looked unbelievable at Penn State, even against a good old line like Notre Dame with one arm. I mean, I can't.
He was a wreckage. He was wrecking ball in the backfield.
And they still have Dexter Lawrence and Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns and.
Yeah, they have a good D line.
It's scary.
But I have Philly, Dallas, Washington, New York is my order. Who do you got? What's your order?
I got New York last for sure. Okay, and then I have the Cowboys third, and my reason for having the Cowboys third is just Dak Prescott and his Cowboys teams have not been able to win tough games. Even when they went 12-4, 12-5 one year, they were something like 11-1 against teams with losing records, and 1-4 against teams with.
That was the year the Dolphins had the same thing, and they played the Dolphins, and it was like, we're gonna find out who the real bully is.
Yeah,
because you're beating on the bad teams. Who's actually the bad team?
Right, and I think they ended up beating the Lions, who were kind of similar. And the Lions, remember, they went for 2 at the 2 and didn't get it, but they were false started, and they went for 2 at the 7, then they went for 2 at the 12, and it was like, how about you kick the extra point and tie the fucking game?
Yeah, when the guy didn't report as eligible, and then they fall.
All that shit.
Yeah, it was a weird.
Anyway, that's been the story of Dak's life. It's like, dude, he looks really good against these kind of mediocre, mid-level, even like good teams and down, and then when he plays great teams, he looks like shit. And it's like, well, you played too many great teams this year to look like shit in those.
He just doesn't elevate his game.
No. And for that reason, I think they kind of have like a 9 to 11 win season, which isn't a bad season. They go 10-7 or 11-6. I just think the Commanders and the Eagles will show up a little bit more in those games and have similar records like 11-6, 12-5. I got the Commanders first, winning it all, the NFC East, and probably going. And again, I know sophomore slump, but see what happens with Terry. I like the addition of Devo. I like the addition of Noah Brown. I love the addition of, I think, offensively, Cliff Kingsbury's great for him. Jane Daniels is great. The running game is actually really good. They got a rookie that's going to be a part of their running game as well. Who'd they get at tight end?
Do they still have Ertz, or did he retire?
Is it Ertz? I feel like they signed someone. Let me see here. I could be wrong. But it's probably Ertz. But the wide receiver core looks better. And the biggest thing, like I said, the O-line was the weakest part. They got Laramie Tunsil, and they got another interior O-lineman and kept Wiley. So, like, now the outside, the tackles look great.
No, they're doing it right for having a
defensively, they got Farrell. They retained a lot of guys. They drafted well. I think they look great going into the season. They've retained
signed Von Miller.
They've retained Cliff Kingsbury, Dan Quinn, all the GMs, all the coaching staff, all the players. I think Jaden Daniels might do the opposite of a sophomore slump. If he stays healthy, look even better than he did last year and win 12 to 13 games.
That's so impossible, though. How could he look better than last year?
I mean, he wasn't, like, above and beyond.
An NFC championship.
I'm talking about his individual play, though. Like, his numbers look better. His play looks better. They go from what they win last year, 12 games, to they win 12 again, or they win 13, and then they, like, maybe their record, maybe they lose a playoff game or two. Obviously, they could make it to the Super Bowl. That would be better. But I'm just talking about the regular season. How they could do better in the regular season is what I think they'll do is win the NFC East.
Yeah, I mean they could.
I think I think that 3-man race is going to be close. I think the Giants go 0-6 in the division. I think the 3-man race will be close. The 3-team race, like Cowboys 10-7, Eagles 11-6, and Commanders 12-5. Maybe even Commanders Eagles tie with records of 12-5.
That's why I think, like you said, the plus 600 for Dallas is a little long because if it's a 1 to 2 game stretch, difference. Let's say Dallas wins the first game against the Eagles I'm not saying by a miracle, but let's just say they beat the Eagles. That's a big game 15 weeks later.
Right.
When it's tied and you've got the tiebreaker, or you're up a game or down a game, and it's like, hey, we went in there, we beat them week 1, we play them at home for our second game.
But my reason for the Commanders winning it, the Eagles getting second, the Cowboys getting third, were all the reasons I've already named. The main one being the Commanders retain their coaching staff's the same, their OC's the same. Their makeup is the same. Their quarterbacks, everything is the same.
They have the
here.
most consistency.
The Eagles lost coordinators. They lost important players. They lost Darius Slay, who's been there a while. I know he's old. He's this and that. They lost, their offense looks the exact same, but their coordinator's different. And I already said that they start a little bit slow. They lost Mika Becton. He was really good for them. The Cowboys coaching staff is brand new.
This guy's never.
Mike Zimmer's not the DC anymore. It's Eberflus. This guy's never been a head coach.
I like
before.
Eberflus as a DC though.
Eberflus is definitely an upgrade for Mike Zimmer, and I liked him as a DC when he was a DC before he was head coach.
It's going to come down to Schottenheimer.
I thought all 4 teams had a great offseason. The Eagles, it's hard to be better than the team you were last year.
You're right, you won the
but they still had a great offseason. The Giants, I thought, did all the things they should have. I think they got a quarterback late that they were happy with. I think they got the best player in the draft, and they made a couple signings. Cool. I like Scatabo. They got bridge quarterbacks because they're not going to win fucking shit. The Cowboys, George Pickens was massive. You don't see them make moves like that, and they did. I thought their draft was great as well. They got players in positions that they need. I love the Tyler Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I love that draft pick. Jake Ferguson.
Tyler Guyton.
No, Tyler Guyton was already there.
Tyler Smith's been there for 3 years.
Who's the other Tyler? The third Tyler? Fuck. This is pissing me off now.
Yadges?
No.
Who'd they get at right guard to replace?
Oh, they got Lyle Collins back.
No.
They did.
I know they did. Tyler Booker. That was their rookie they drafted this year.
Okay.
There's 3 Tylers on the offensive line starting. Tyler Booker's the rookie from Alabama that they drafted with the 12th overall pick. Mm-hmm. I love that pick.
I was really intoxicated by the time they made that pick.
Right, that's fair. Yeah. I mean, open bar to draft party.
Food too. Some lady passed out and the stretcher took her out 15 minutes into the draft.
But I was like, that's going to be me. You might as well keep that stretcher here, sweetheart. I'm going to be piggybacking that with you in 10 minutes. But I think that and their running back room got better, even though it actually could have got worse. I've heard terrible things about Jaden Blue, and
I heard really good things about him.
I heard he's lazy. They said he's borderline lazy. The running back coach for the Cowboys said he's.
Well, that's good. That's actually a good thing to hear.
Why is that a good thing to hear?
Depending on his mindset, if he hears that he's
I'm fucking lazy.
Yeah, right.
Seems like
I think when it's beat reporters, it's kind of hard.
But this coaching staff
is
that's what I was
way
going
more
to say. Even though the Cowboys look really new as a team, I do love the things I've heard out of Schottenheimer, even though he's a brand new coach for the first time. First of all, I think a big factor in hiring him, personally, I haven't heard any reports of this, is at one point the offensive coordinator was Kellen Moore and the defensive coordinator was Dan Quinn, and those guys faced off in the NFC Championship last year.
Yeah.
And you're going, hey, we fired the guy this year that was the head coach when they were the coordinators. Why the fuck didn't we hire from within when we knew this guy wasn't going to do shit, right? So they hire from within. We can't lose another guy. We can't lose another guy that becomes a head coach. But this was actually the last 2 years has been years that you should have hired from without.
Right.
You should have hired Jim Harbaugh.
Vrabel.
You should have hired Vrabel. You should have hired Belichick. You should have hired Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
There's other names out there that were floated from, Chip Kelly's an OC now.
Mike McDonald from the Ravens.
Marcus Freeman had rumors of going to the Bears. Like, there's so many guys that you could have interviewed and hired and got within the hiring process. Ben Johnson. And it's like...
Aaron Glenn.
You hired from within.
Not saying all those guys are going to be good coaches.
With that being said, I've liked what I've heard from Schottenheimer, where he's the discipline.
I'd be a better head coach than coordinator.
That could happen. It goes both ways. Cliff Kingsbury's not a head coach. God damn, is he a coordinator though, right? Since I was born in 1998, the same problems have been there for the Cowboys, and Schottenheimer's the first coach I've heard say it, where he said, talent has not been the problem here. That's why we haven't made the NFC Championship in fucking 28 years. It's discipline. You aren't going to win without discipline. It's like, fucking final.
His dad was a great coach.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
You see what they did in practice? And they were kind of, I think it was either penalties or fights.
Fighting,
and he just made them run.
The coaches were also running.
I believe it. I like that
Dan
shit.
Campbell type shit right there.
I don't mind it. The problem is it's one of those things where hopefully he has a good balance of both, because those guys can, like, it'll probably work. It's like a Tom Thibodeau. It'll work for 3-4 years. But then after that, it's like, like a Pete Carroll, where it's like, you got to have that fun, or John Harbaugh too. Like, John Harbaugh is no nonsense. He's not fucking around.
Right.
But we're going to have like a water balloon fight. Like, but you have to earn that stuff. I'm not
Also
saying
have to be a
grown
good
men
game
are
manager.
Look like they're having fun.
Water balloon fights. But
There's
yeah,
a lot.
I'm just saying I hope there's a good balance of that, because you definitely need to be a fucking hard-nosed guy.
I think
And especially
Andy-
when it's your first year, because you're trying to establish a culture. But at the same time, at least showing the guys, like, hey, this is going to be good, but right now, like, you got to understand.
You'll get rewarded.
That, but also, like, are you okay just being a loser? And we're one of the teams that's talked about the most out of anybody in the whole NFL. And at January, December every year, you're a laughing stock.
We're the richest franchise in sports.
If you're okay with that, first of all, I would say if you're okay with that, well, let's get you out of the building.
Mhm.
But second of all, like, if you're okay with that and that's what's been okay, that's not going to be okay for me. So, we're going to figure out what the fuck's going on here.
Some things, though, I mean, it's nitpicky clips you see out of training camp and whatnot. But from what I've seen, and maybe Dak's going against the first stringers and Milton's going up against the second and third guys or the practice squad or whatever.
That's bullshit.
It could all be nitpicky, but I've seen great things out of Milton and not great things out of Dak.
That's
but that
bullshit.
could just mean
Dak's a good quarterback.
that could just mean the first string defense,
Dak could still be a top 10 quarterback in this league.
Right.
yeah,
Obviously,
And also,
especially regular season.
the 8 through 12 ranking, but yeah, regular season especially.
also too, like,
He should have been MVP 2 years ago.
Milton is not outperforming Dak Prescott in training camp. I would find that
I think
very
JJ
hard.
Watt tweeted about that. It wasn't about this instance, but he was saying, I have no idea who they're going up against. What they're told is the scenario, what part of the practice this is, and then what the goal of the thing is.
But you're showing me two clips here, and I'm
Yeah.
seeing Dak throw a pick to a guy, and I'm seeing Milton throw a bomb to a guy, and it's like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Show me. I got to go sit there for
Hey,
the whole
CD,
practice.
get
It's not
double
enough.
teamed to Dak, you have to throw it to him.
And me personally, I'm not even saying Joe Milton should start. I would love it if I think Milton at 6'5", 245 pounds, 4'5", 40, and can throw the ball 75 yards is a ball of potential, especially because he already has a year sitting on the bench in the league. Sitting behind a quarterback like Dak, he has Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers potential, where you sit behind a great quarterback and you become great.
And Dak's already 32. And if you think about it, too, when we got Trey Lance, we thought we were going to have some packages for this kid that the Niners did, right?
We definitely do for Milton.
For Milton, you have to have him. Or like Eric said, he's like,
bigger, faster, stronger than
don't
Trey
do it
Lance.
during the regular season, but come playoff game, it's like, wait, what do you mean? What's this Joe Milton package they're doing now? We didn't know to prepare for this.
Here's my thing. Joe Milton and Anthony Richardson are two guys that I think coming out of their draft classes were 100% potential. What could they be? Look at their size. Look at their throwing strength. Look at their speed. Look at how physical they could. Look at what they could be, right? But you threw Andy Richardson into a starting quarterback situation week one of his NFL career.
That's why I said give him 4 to 5 years. Like, you can't expect he's going to.
That's what I want
Yeah, it's
Milton to
unfair
take.
to him.
Milton's already taken 1 year. And at the last game, I know he played the Bills second stringer. He looked great.
They look fine.
But look, let's sit him behind an even better quarterback, not behind a guy like Drake May who's learning himself, but behind Dak Prescott for a year or two or whatever. Here's the thing. I'm not wishing this upon the players. Dak will get hurt within the next 3 years. If Milton's still there, he's going to have an opportunity to show up.
Right. So I looked it up here. Dak Prescott has handled most of the first team reps. He's gone 61 of 91 in 4 padded practices.
That's great.
And hasn't thrown an interception.
That's fantastic.
So we're seeing bullshit on the internet.
And that's not
People don't like Dak. He's
great
a quarterback
about
for the
that. Doesn't
Cowboys.
sound great for our defense because he's hooping like
And
a
it says
motherfucker.
but Dak's always been good. He's everyone can say, and you guys might say you fucking hate that guy more than anybody. I don't hate him in terms of he's a good quarterback. The problem is he doesn't elevate his game, and in the game against the Packers in the playoffs,
That was horrific.
he shit down his leg.
Yeah.
Those both can be true.
And the
he
thing
plays
is-
great in the regular season, and he's a good quarterback.
He's even had great playoff games
But he's
like
not-
against the Buccaneers.
Yeah, exactly. But and then it said in recent joint practices versus the Rams, he connected on multiple big plays, particularly to CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens
That's a
in the
great defense.
in red zone and contested catch scenarios.
Why do we practice?
They've
against
limited
the
his
Rams?
workload though because he did tear his hamstring last
I
year.
think they're in LA
No, we're
or
playing them
camp,
this
right?
week.
And that okay.
We
So-
practice against the Rams every single offseason.
Well, our camp is in Oxnard.
Yeah.
Remember
And then-
Aaron Donald was fucking throwing helmets at people?
Yeah, but how it works
Tyler
is the
Biadasz.
week of your preseason game, you do joint practices with that team, and then you do the finale is the preseason game. So Dak and them are probably getting most of the
We
reps
play
here,
them every preseason then.
pretty much. Preseason.
I love practicing it. Don't get me wrong. Rams are a great team, a great organization. I want to practice against them every fucking year. It's just odd.
Now, it does say Joe Milton, the camp MVP, with a question mark. He's earned significant attention for his rocket arm and ability to stretch the field. During joint practices against the Rams, he delivered a 64-75-yard touchdown strike.
I think
to Jalen
that's
Brooks.
probably 64 yards in the air, 75-yard total touchdown.
Possibly.
I saw that.
Jalen
throw.
Brooks blew past the defense, and that was the throw that was a fucking. Did you see that throw?
I
That
thought
was an
if you
absolute
told me
nuke.
he threw it 97 yards, I would have believed it. It was in the air forever.
Um,
He's a big motherfucker, Joe Milton.
Yeah, he's
it basically says that Milton's adapted to the offense pretty well, because it's a fast, streamlined system, which is good for a quarterback like him. Because he's obviously quick and
Don't think, just go.
just don't think, just go. But they said Dak's obviously,
I mean,
he's been killing it, but Milton is the camp MVP.
I
Because,
truly think we have two good quarterbacks.
yeah.
that's the thing with Dak is like we said, he's in that second tier of the quarterbacks, but behind those top 5 guys.
To me, there's 3 guys, and then there's another tier, and then there's
You can put him there, yeah.
people
but
are gonna hate that because one of those 3 guys is not Lamar to me, but
no,
it just is what it is.
which like you could look at Lamar and Dak's playoff stats. It's like
They're the same guy,
Dak's better,
slightly
touchdown
better
to
in the
turnover
playoffs,
ratio.
and Lamar's slightly better in the regular season.
Exactly. But our problem is that his contract takes up so much space that he's not good enough to
For
not
that
have
space.
that space to have,
Right.
have that talent around him.
That's always been the problem.
And that's the problem. You're not a Patrick Mahomes who isn't taking that much. You're not a Josh Allen. You're
Who's
not
taking that, but you're like Josh Allen just plays better when he needs to.
we saw he has 36 touchdowns to 3 turnovers in the playoffs
think
in a
it's
career.
Even Joe Burrow, I know it hurts the defense.
32-6, I think it is.
Yeah.
What hurts the Bengals more is that Burrow, Chase, and Higgins are all getting paid, so it's really hard to pay an O-line plus a defense. They can't we can't afford Trey Hendrickson. It's like that's your best player and maybe the best
That's
player
your only defender.
defensively.
Yeah.
You need to pay him, which he just went back to practice. Which I saw Ty Schmidt say he pulled the old squeak from if you guys fucking rag on me 13 or 14 more times.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I saw that too.